That's how Trump broke up my relationship with the 48-year-old. So I started dating this 48-year-old when I was 24 years old. It started out as a buddy of mine wanted to go get some business cards or something, like some brochures he was going to buy at North Austin. So I went with him just to, I don't know, he asked me. So anyways, I go with him to North Austin, right? He goes into the other room with the designer because she was going to be designing his business cards and brochures. So I'm there alone in the lobby with, you guessed it, the 48-year-old. She's the secretary of the designer. So anyways, I'm kind of bored. I start chit-chatting with her, and she seems kind of cool. And I don't know, I was like, she's hot, but like she's attractive in the way that like a nice car, like a nice old car, but like with a lot of miles. Like you could tell she was rocking it like back in the day. So anyways, I start talking to her. I asked her for her number. She says she writes it down. She gives it to me. So I'm feeling good. Me and my buddy leave. I'm messaging her. I'm texting her. She's like super down. She wants to come over. And then suddenly she totally like ghosts me so freaking hard. Like we were chit chatting all cool. I thought I was gonna get it in. Dead after that. Like no texting, no calls, no explanation, nothing. I don't care, dude. Like I didn't care. Like a week later, she messages me back. Like she suddenly starts messaging me and she explains to me apparently her daughter, who is 22 years old, found out, didn't like our whole, like her, the fact that her mother was dating a, or was talking to a 24-year-old. She was like making this claim of, she did like, oh my gosh, she's closer to my age than your age, mom, like whatever. And then she had like a mini stroke or like, I don't know, she fainted or something. And then so she went through like, oh man, she needs to live once. YOLO life, you know what I mean? And so she started messaging me back saying like, you know, I want to do this or whatever. So she hits me up and I'm like, okay, cool, come over. I'm going to get it in this time. Um, and she does come over and I do get it in. But it was interesting because I thought it was going to be like, she was going to be more mature and because, you know, she's old. So I thought she was going to be more mature because she's old. But like, I don't know, she wasn't. She was like wild. Like she would let me do things that other girls, younger girls, wouldn't let me do. It was very ironic that this was happening at the same time, but I made fun of a former roommate, friend of mine, because he was dating a 36-year-old. He was dating a 36-year-old, and he was about my age. So I would make fun of him. I would make jokes, a lot of them, at his expense about the fact that, like, you know, oh, like when you bang, like, is dust come out, or like, um, she's gonna have to be picking him up from school because like they're gonna be thinking it's his mother or stuff like that, like little jokes like that. And then I ended up dating a girl that was like, you know, older, so it's very ironic. She would let me like suck on her titties, and she was still lactating, and so apparently women when they have a child and then like her 22-year-old child, she was lactating afterwards, and so after her baby stopped, you know, drinking her milk, she just kept on sucking on her titties, so they just kept lactating. um so when I was banging her, sometimes I would suck on her titties and milk would come out. um we started hanging out a bunch afterwards, banging a lot more. But we would hang out, and she would, like, you know, pay for a lot of my meals. Um, like a lot of my meals, like she would like go all out, pay for my meals, and we would go out a lot, eat out a lot. And I like to eat. I have a food blog. It was a little weird because people would think she's like my mom, and she wasn't my mom. She was my mommy. Um, And I mean, honestly, she was super cool. Like, she was really cool. She was like legit cool because she wouldn't like really judge me or like, expect too much of me. She was honestly like pretty legit, dude. And also, like, she really didn't lie to me, so I would like trust her, and I actually really value trust a lot over, you know, like looks or like age. For more context, time went by. We dated for a few months, and then the end of my lease was coming up, so I got this bright idea that I should buy a tiny house because I didn't want to live in the apartment complex that I was going to be living in because it was too expensive for me. So I bought a tiny house from Houston. I drove it back to Austin, and I parked it on this guy's driveway. But before that, I put all my stuff in there from my apartment complex, and the apartment complex was bigger, or my room in the complex was bigger than my tiny house. So my tiny house was like packed, like really packed. And I remember I drove it to the guy's driveway in Austin, super sketch. And even when I got there and I parked it, I thought, oh, I could just plug it in and the electricity would be there. But no, apparently the outlet that was outside didn't work. So we had to wait for an electrician. So for 2 days, I didn't have electricity, I didn't have water, and my tiny house was like super packed. And my lease had ended, so I was in the tiny house sleeping, and all I had was a tiny bed because I had a tiny bed in a tiny house. And she still came over, and we kept banging. And she was a real trooper, to be honest. Like, honestly, because it was hot. Like, you have to understand, it was hot in there. And she was like super legit about it. We still banged. She didn't judge me. So honestly, I saw this girl, or I saw this 48-year-old. It's like something that, like, we could be in the future. I had like, oh, we could like get married one day. We could raise our 22-year-old daughter. We could have a life. Um, and then she threw it all away. Then she threw it all away. She threw it all away for something so stupid, something so immature. I got my electricity back. I got my water back. I got my tiny house in order. So It was working. Okay. This explains how small the world is. Even in Austin, Austin is huge. It's like almost 1 million people, I think. And so a buddy of mine, very interesting happened. A buddy of mine, his brother, okay, so a buddy of mine, his little brother was dating the daughter of my girlfriend. So I never told the 48-year-old that had voted for Trump, right? So I voted for Trump. I'd never told her, and I recall never telling her anything about that. And I think I told my buddy. My buddy told his little brother told his girlfriend, his girlfriend told her mom, and then she found out and like couldn't believe it. She was like she messaged me really quickly, I guess, after she found out, and she was like, "Hey, like, did you do this? Like, did you vote for Trump?" And I said, like, I didn't understand how she even knew, so I like was kind of confused. But yeah, I said, yeah, I did, and whatever. And she freaking flipped out. Like, she messaged me like, I can't believe you would vote for that person. Like, how dare you? Like, do you know what he wants to do to this country? And I don't know what. And I was like, oh my God. Like, this is coming out of nowhere. I'm like coming out of a final or something. And she straight up like blocked me, broke up with me. Um, she threw it all away. That's what she did. She threw away our life, our future life, of us getting married, of like living a cool life, like her taking me out to eat everywhere and like loving me. And she threw it all away, like our future with our 22-year-old daughter. Oh my gosh. Like, I thought we were going to get married. Well, I mean, even if we got married, she would have to get divorced first. But, like, I thought we were going to have a life. But no, she had to throw it all away, dude. Like, because I voted for Trump. Sorry, dude. Sorry I voted for him. And even worse, cherry on top of that story, like, ruined my, like, freaking sucks, is that my friend, the one I would make fun of for the dating the 36-year-old, he found out about this relationship eventually with time, and To this day, to this day, he makes fun of me for dating a 48-year-old. He makes fun of me a lot, telling me like, "Oh, like, what are you gonna do? Like, like, are you gonna go to another retirement home, get another girlfriend?" Like, he does stuff like that all the time. It hurts my feelings. So, very ironic. That's how Trump broke up my relationship with the 48-year-old. Yeah. So yeah.